This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Ad Hoc Grant Search Committee for January 13th, 2025 at about 1:04 p.m. And we have our members of our committee here, Bruce, Kate, Scott, myself, and then we've got Mark Cassis here representing the Greenway Committee. And our first order of business, I don't see anybody open time for the public. We do have some short minutes, but just in the interest of time, I'd like to just jump into the grants if everybody's okay with that. And so I'm going to try and share. Is anybody else coming, Mark, besides you guys?
No, Alex couldn't make it because of work, and Alan is actually feeling.
All right. Let me see if I can find the right.
Can I give Bruce a brief introduction since it's new? So this is a re-granting from Mass Trails for ongoing design for the Greenway. So this is actually fourth round. Last year we got ARPA funds instead of Mass Trails, but this is a rework of a prior grant. So the basic information here is old and adapted. I've highlighted some areas in yellow that I thought we should especially make sure we're accurate on. And the budget is still coming from Ty and Bond, but the basic steps that they will accomplish, tasks that will be completed, are modified based on what they've given us.
Okay. Well, what I've been able to pull up, right now. So, Kate, you've got the link into Mark's document, do you, on Google? This won't let me minimize my screen to when I'm recording, so I can't pull it up now. But I do have the budget. So, if you don't mind, Mark, just give us a quick headline on the budget first, if we can.
The budget, again, this is completely wrong because this is last year's without any changes. It will need to be modified because I don't know what they want. So the ones in yellow will change, basically, is all it says.
All right. Okay.
And so this is they did have a change in the rate of volunteer pay, and I don't know if we want to stick with the same hourly rate for town administrator and chief of the highway. Yeah,
we'd been using, I think, for volunteers, we'd been using 31, hadn't we?
Yeah, and it went up by the state. This is their new number.
$40.97 an hour.
That was in the grant materials.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And if we want to change the, go ahead.
Yeah, Scott, what do you think in terms of your time, Randall's time per hour time? Is that real, or 65 an hour?
And number of hours.
Number of hours, yeah. So 6 per month. We can, you muted, Scott. Sorry. There you go.
I think the number of hours is okay. I'm just wondering what the restrictions are on the per hour rate.
I think it was just based on salary calculations last time. I don't think it was anything.
Oh, if it including fringe, yeah, I think that's in the ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm surprised the volunteer one went up that much, though. Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, then we won't spend time on this part then, since this is all going to be redone.
But the second two sheets are the time. And so this is consistent with what Alex gave me of what they hope to accomplish. And they have a 4-page, 500-step plan they've submitted to Mass DOT. So this is an abbreviation of that. Actually, only 463 steps. But
how nice.
So I'll go over this with Alex if people can look at it. But it's basically the text of this is in the narrative.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So this will go all the way through 2027 before they get it ready to go.
The second page of the time is meant to be year 2, and I'm not at all comfortable with the times I put there. So I've asked Alex to look at that specifically. He's out until tomorrow. So,
right. Okay. All right. So, and this is assuming, so from January, but we know that the awards usually get announced in June or July, right? So.
Yeah. So that's the top.
This will be here. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll leave this for you to do more work with Ty and Bond on to get that kind of organized. That's good, no problem.
Okay.
I'm going to stop the share on that. So, Kate, are you able to pull up the link there from Mark?
This is the Mass Trails Grant Application 2025, the Google document, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the one that Mark sent the link around to. We've got to put these in a folder at some point here. We can do that, so we get them together.
And this is the correct document that you wanted me to pull up?
I believe so. If we go,
are you at the top?
All the way up top. Yeah.
No, it should say draft on it.
Maybe it's because it's in Google Docs instead of
well, mine's and I updated.
It has a draft on it in Google Doc.
It has a date of 11/12 on it, so that's not the right one.
So it would have been in the link that Mark sent around.
Most recent.
When did you send that, Mark? A couple of days ago?
Maybe even yesterday, because I did some final.
No, this is the 2024.
Yeah.
No. Just look for Mark right there. Hold up. That's it, I think.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so.
Okay, so we can make it a little bit bigger, maybe if we can, and we can just scroll down and just see where we are.
The stuff in yellow, I especially. Scott, I want to make sure I had your spelling right, because your spelling of your email is different than what I had online, so I got confused.
Right. So
I use the first initial last name at townofsouthampton.org. I still have the town administrator email, but the SZA back is my primary.
With an E between the Z and the B.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, one of them on the online one actually on the town site I think is wrong, just for your information.
Okay.
Okay, good.
All right, so it's Scott. It's SZCZEBAK.
AKEK.
Here, I'm gonna put it in, and you can tell me if it's right.
SS. Yeah.
Okay, good. Preferred email.
Is that good, Scott?
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so yeah. So that's good. So we're using that rather than the town administrator one.
Great.
Okay. Good.
All right. Mailing address.
Yeah. We'll keep on.
Most of this is
project title. Would that?
Yeah, that's the same, I think.
Okay.
The only thing in 1.7, I added the ARPA funding in 2024.
Right. Yeah.
That's everything's the same.
Right. I think the one there, just a note on the very first one, Mass Trails Grant Railroad. I would say railroad right-of-way acquisition. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
project title is the same.
Yeah. So anywhere that you've got yellow, is that what you're focusing on, Mark?
Well, those are things that I think are changes. Again, under at 2.4, if you get down there,
yeah,
where it's a budget, those are, we don't know the numbers yet, so we just have to remember to go back to them.
Okay. So back up in the narrative though.
Nothing really changed there. No changes.
Okay.
2.3, no change from before.
Okay.
So I would move towards finalization of the design process. Woohoo!
Well, yeah, because we're not going to be finished at the end of that fiscal year. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So all the stuff in yellow here, we'll just notice this has got to be corrected, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And
so
yeah, go ahead.
The only other thing that's changed here, shared use pathway. We took equestrian off of 2.10.
I see. Yes. Because we weren't sure if they were going to do the gravel pathway. So I don't think
we just, the select board voted to not go ahead with that portion of it. And just, I mentioned one place down below why we did it.
Right. So we're not going to highlight it or anything. It's not going to be bolded. It will be ignored when I enter it in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's now unbolded. Correct.
Correct. And just back on the CPC money for a little bit. Sorry, on the share. So there would not still be any CPC money left in your match from previous time to use?
My understanding is the last CPC vote for that $23,000 last year was specific for the matching of that year's Mass Trails grant. So we can't use it. So it's going to basically return to the undesignated CPC funds. So we need that portion we can't. There is issue of prior funding, the $100,000, $65,000 that was in the past, of where that sits. And Scott may have, it's an interesting question.
So you may have some balance from previous years on the CPC match. Okay. And the reason on the 23, I just want to be clear, the 23,000 was specifically for a Mass Trails grant, which even though you got the grant last year, we got the grant, they awarded it out of the ARPA money, not Mass Trails money. Therefore, no match was required.
Scott, is that your understanding?
That's what I understand. I can double check, but I'm 99% sure that's what they responded when I asked.
Okay.
Okay, and if it's a CPC, if there wasn't a match last year, then I can make note that there wouldn't need to be additional CPC funding awarded for this year because we could use the funding that was already voted on last year.
No,
I don't think we want that wording in there.
No, because last year's money was the wording in the warrant for the town meeting, I think, was specific to getting a Mass Trails
2024
grant, which even though this came through Mass Trails, it wasn't Mass Trails money.
So we would need to go to town. I'm just writing. These are for not the grant, not the application, but for our minutes. So we would need to reapply through town meeting to request additional CPC funds.
Correct.
And rescind the old one.
Yeah. We'll have to see how the wording was on that warrant, but yeah, most likely that would be what we'd have to do. If this were back again through Mass Trails, then technically, I don't know if it was specific to that year, but we'll see. We'll have to look at the wording. Sometimes we were loosely worded that allowed us a little bit of wiggle room, and other times not. So, okay, come on down then. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're going past. We agreed about the questions. So 2.11.
There's no change there. Just describes the path itself.
And is the timeline so fiscal year 2028? So that seems okay.
Yeah. Yep. So calendar 27. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like the brief description. Any comments?
So again, just to clarify, we are not on the tip list, but we're on a priority list. And in May, we're going to have to do some homework of making sure we get on the tip list because we got bypassed last year.
Yes, because I saw the 2028. Okay, so then we'll keep our fingers crossed for now. I think that hopefully the location has not changed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll list the landowners. So it says the previous Mass Trails grants and CPC funding and its supporters of its boats. Town has purchased the right of way from Pine Valley Railroad. Copy of the deed is attached. Bam.
I put in yellow only so we remember to either attach that deed or, which I think we have to for the grant purposes.
Yeah, I don't think I would keep that in the narrative itself, but it's an attachment. I mean, they tend to not like you to say, go see attachment X. They, there's 6 or 7 attachments we can have, and the deed has usually been one of them. So that's fine.
Do you want to delete that line then?
So I will do this, but I'll make a comment just so we don't lose track.
Just make a comment, take out in final or something. Yeah. Attach, be sure to attach the deed or something. Just make a comment, attach deed to application or something. Yeah.
It's in the list down below already, but
okay. All right, landowner permission has been established. Does this project comply with state and federal guidelines? Yes.
None of that has changed. That was
none of it's changed.
Project need form. Yeah. So Bruce, we've been doing this one. This is what, the 3rd, 4th time we've done this, Mark?
Yes, 4th.
I think we started this in 21 or something like that. Yeah. This is just narrative. It's not even any questions. This is a interim section. Here we go, though.
3.1. Describe what I'm hoping they know us pretty well by now. So Mark, did you have any comments about 3.1?
No, the yellow was addressing the fact the select board approved that we're not going to go ahead with equestrian. If people think there's better wording for that, by all means.
Okay. We'll just leave the notion in there, though. I think we should say that, we are not considering the equestrian path anymore.
Was there any, so you said lack of interest, was that like a survey or?
This is talking with the adjacent landowners, other horse barn owners. Basically that's.
Got it. Okay. I live next door to them. That's why it was a curiosity question, but I just didn't know if it was a lack of interest from the town or if it was specifically the adjacent property.
Yeah, or we could say, it could say lack of interest from horse owners in town or something like that.
Right.
If you wanted to, I mean.
And the select board meeting was technically a public meeting, so.
Yeah. So, formally decided at a public meeting, at a public meeting of the select board or something.
The town formally decided at a public meeting
of the select board.
The select board.
Yeah.
The fact that above this, you were not going to highlight equestrian, do they compare this submission to prior submissions? If you're not applying for equestrian component to a trail, do you need to elaborate anything about removing it?
All of the prior three of them all had equestrian in there, and I think it's reasonable to have them some idea of why we removed it.
Yeah.
So my question is, do they typically review past applications for consistency, one application to the next? Or are these taken on face first time up? Or we don't know.
I don't know that we know that. I don't imagine they've got the bandwidth to go back and review everybody's applications from the previous thing. But as Mark said, this had been highlighted before in that previous question as one of the uses of this trail was equestrian. So now that we're going to unhighlight that in this new application, this sentence gives them the explanation in case they're wondering. I don't know that we need to do more than that, really. Yeah.
Okay.
I think all of that is same. Yeah.
Will also allow access to town municipal buildings, parks, and the town library. Love that. Okay. We're completed in 2025. So we're going to get to 25%, which is a good landmark, as well as conduct some of the 75% bridge-related design work.
And this is all wording that specifically has gone through Alex Fagnan, the tie-in bond, to make sure it's appropriate language and consistent with what they can do.
That's great. And I see the pre-25% design. This is a great update. Have been completed. That's awesome.
Yeah. So why did you accept Mark's change there and we get rid of that comment, whatever that is?
That was basically Alex's changes.
And then thinking that Chris's input about see attached documents, so we just make a note to make sure we attach it.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be the bulk of what we have to attach is going to be that, I think, anyway. So I think
that's the new stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we submit it, we'll go through a list of what we have to attach. So latest tie-in bond documents or something, whatever.
There's a section down in the bottom that lists what will be attached, but we can put it in there.
Okay. For the end of 2025, we'll have full 25% design documents completed. Work to be completed in 2026. That's exciting. 75%. It certainly feels like we're getting there. I always am hesitant to use the word we in applications. That's just my personal, in order, just to be consistent with the rest of the application. Because it's all written in third person. I'm just going to put this, I can look at this elsewhere, but I just hesitate to use the word we because the we is not clearly defined, and just to say there's, and that doesn't need to be done now.
Well, it could be the consultants. I mean,
right. Who is we? So is that
this came from the consultants, so it probably should be the consultants
or tie and bond,
or it's actually the consultants tie and bond with the state. Actually, is what if we want to get specific.
Tie and bond. Whoops. Worked with state officials to identify additional bridge-related work that will be necessary to advance the project.
Yeah.
This will be included.
This is probably the biggest change in actually expected work. There's a culvert wash that's a mess that may need a bridge over replacement and may get expensive, and they plan to include that in the building estimates.
Okay. All right.
Okay, understood. Delete and shared use.
So shared use, we didn't want in there, Mark?
So this is confusion. So the state talks about bridge plans and highway plans, but the highway is the same as a shared use pathway. So it's confusing language. So we just we took it out to get rid of the confusion. It was partly I needed to clear. Okay.
All right.
So second, 100% structural. Is this from tie and bond in the state?
This is tie and bond's exact language to me. I just put it in there.
Got it.
Yeah, so the 100% we want to include, yeah.
Okay, so environmental review. Okay. Right of way. Great.
And these are all same things that are on the timeline that we briefly reviewed in the beginning.
Okay, so development of draft permanent applications for the work along the 3+. Can we just say greenway?
What?
Like it says 3+ miles. Could we just say the greenway?
We've said it before 3+ earlier, so I think that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need MIPA in there for sure.
Okay, our consultants, tie and bond.
You can take out the MIPA. Just take out his note.
Oh, I see.
So, and the second part is stuff added by Alex Fagman. So that was their requested language.
Consultants, tie and bond. We're working closely with Mass DOT leading up to 25. They're very thorough and initial reviews taking the language.
Actually, I'll take that back. This is my language to sort of explain why everything got slowed down.
Yes. Tie and bond. Should we just say tie and bond? It says our consultants. So would that be tie and bond?
Yeah.
Consulting agency?
No, that's fine.
I'm just gonna figure out how to.
They're okay. They're known as that.
No, I'm saying the our. It's the same thing as we.
Well, this is a grant from the town to the state. That was the perspective it came from.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So task to be completed. Any comments there?
This is again all from run through tie and bond.
Okay. So pre-25 design material. Let's leave that there, I guess. Now it doesn't hurt to have one in there, but we'll find. Attach the grant application.
Comment. Material.
So our design material, Diana. Hi there.
There.
Hi.
I can't get my camera to work, but yeah. Who knows?
Looking for the materials are or is on. Oh, it's because we haven't.
It should be materials are, I think.
Oh.
Not that I'm that creative.
No. What happened? Oh.
I'm looking for the word materials.
It's in yellow.
It's above equipment. It's way up above that.
It's above 3.3.
Yeah.
Materials are. Got it. Okay. Okay.
The next yellow section, a little below that.
Do we need to leave this highlighted, or do you want me to?
No, it's more so we talk about it. That was
okay,
all.
got it. I'll unhighlight it. Okay. Any comment about the task to be completed after the cycle is complete?
This is
in
all
these-
Alex's language
This is
too?
Alex, and I've got to work on the specific timeline to go with it. But
Okay,
the next paragraph, which has yellow, is
yeah,
we talked last year. We put in $5,000 of funding, so 4,000 of grant and 1,000 match. If we can find parking spots so that we can pay maybe legal bills and appraisal value, do we want to still do that?
yeah. I think we did.
Every time I
and
drive by that, I said there's going to be no parking there, so I think.
Yeah,
We-
no, I
we
think
may
I
not
think
be
we
able to
still
make
need
it-
to.
Yeah, we may not be able to make it work, but I think if we have the money there,
Yeah.
it gives us.
So because we had this in the grant application last year, you don't think we still have it now because the grant was reduced? Is that why? We had put it in the application last year, had we not? Wasn't in the budget?
I have to ask Scott about the wording of the ARPA funding.
I don't know. I never saw the ARPA award itself, but did it delineate the budget itself, or
Let me see if I can pull that up.
it might have been just a lump sum? It might not have, but it would have been whatever budget we submitted last year that would have had that as a line item, I'm pretty sure.
I think part of it was the focus was it changed to just make sure that they could continue the work that had to be done during this year, since the DOT wasn't doing was doing its work very slowly. So it may have dropped that focus. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's leave it in there for now until we figure out what we need to do with it. Yep.
All right, so I'm going to leave the comment there just in case Scott can find it.
I think most of this is all
3.3 hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, we may have added a few minor things of other connections.
Mhm. Yeah.
3.4 has not changed.
So right here down at the bottom, the last paragraph right above it, the town of Southampton recently purchased 54 acres. That's new. That's new.
Yeah, that's new.
Mhm.
Do we want to refer to 117 over 125, or it's now 0, or does it matter?
I don't know. We got to figure out that address there. It's definitely not 0 College Highway anymore.
So we want to highlight that in yellow.
So let's not make it so explicit. Definitely safety complex and senior center and other municipal uses. We don't know about affordable housing yet.
And other.
Municipal uses.
Okay, so these would all be easily accessible from the Greenway. Okay.
Kind of repetitive there.
I know I'm like looking at the word Greenway twice.
Yeah, on the east side of the Greenway.
This property includes land that would be conservation land.
That would be accessible.
Well, no, the whole thing's accessible, not just the conservation land.
Oh, okay.
So there's a distinction there.
I see. Okay.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
So the first sentence says there's wetlands on the east side, which is not the main portion, that will be accessible, but there's also all of the other parts of the property should be accessible from the Greenway. So they all, both the safety complex, senior center, as well as the conservation properties would be accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So how you want to word that, I'm fine.
Lands are being developed for use as property. Maybe say and other municipal uses. It's like almost like which will. Yeah, you're right. I think we can just look at the Greenway, use of the word Greenway twice. I'll think about it. These are the things that I think we can do after.
Or we can say the rail trail if you want to switch it up or something.
Mm-hmm.
Each of these properties would be accessible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I just want to think.
Yeah.
I'll think about it and I'll try to put in a comment.
Okay.
Is it near an EJ community? Hopefully that has, I will see if there's been any changes because this was from a couple years ago. I will go back because those statistics are periodically updated. I'm just going to make sure that there hasn't been any significant changes.
Yeah, unless they've updated their open space plan, there shouldn't be. But the one that's older there, Kate, though, is Westfield. So it goes back to 18.
Yeah, I'll just for accuracy, because
Yeah.
Westfield does grow, I'll just make sure that those statistics, that there's nothing that's striking about them that would be very different or beneficial to our application.
Thank you.
Because that would have been from 2021. So,
Yeah, but like our plan is good for 6 or 7 years, so they don't get updated very often. So
yeah, I'm not sure how often the state does the block map upgrades. But I'll look at it. No problem.
okay, most of that's the same then.
Is Westfield still working on the feasibility study to do the last leg of the
They are, and they've actually tried to contact us to try to get us to do the connection from the south part, our south part. But so that's a priority for them. But I don't think they have anything specific yet.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So this census data, this is true for 2020, which I guess as long as we've given that as a source, that's fine. Our actual population, I checked it with Lucy on a different grant we were working with the firefighters grant, and our population since the census is now down to 6158 or something. So she was going to get me some recent figures in terms of what that's okay though, if we're using the US 2020 census, this is still accurate. I'm just saying, just for information's sake, our percentage of seniors and people under 18 probably is changing as she does her yearly census updates. So if I find anything that's wildly different, more than 1,370 people, I'll let you know, and we might just change the reference there.
Okay. Alrighty. Older person. I love this. I like this section.
Mark and Chris, I just sent over the original email with the language. It looks like they use the generic Mass Trails grant language.
So it's just a lump sum, or not broken down by any?
Lump sum.
Yeah, okay.
So what does that mean for our last comment? So
we'll just have to go back and look at last year's budget, how we submitted it, and because we got less than what we asked for, right, Mark?
Well, I still got confused about how it got changed. I think it's a little less than we asked for. And there's a question of whether we've used the prior CPC funding that was committed. And
yeah, we got just some money issues to untangle here. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So section 3.6, is that where we are?
Yeah, I think all that is, we worked so hard on this 2 or 3 years ago. We haven't changed it much at all.
No real changes in this section.
Great.
I know it makes it sound like we haven't done anything here, but honestly, we spent many hours working on this in the very beginning, first couple.
3.7 talks about our readiness. There's not a big change here.
So
I also feel like the readiness is somewhat like, I want to say readiness is kind of out of our control a little bit. I know you mentioned about the 2028 tip, right? Like I almost feel like, like I remember you mentioning, Mark, about how the progress is really limited by how much work can be done by by tie and bond, or like we have to make sure that we spend the money. So I almost feel like that's worth like acknowledging, like saying, we're budgeting.
Somewhere's up above, I did say that. If we didn't say it strong enough, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Let me just explain this for a second.
Yeah.
Down below where my comments are, those are changes that were made or suggested by Alex Fagnan. So he's looked at this to talk about their work in terms of readiness. So those changes are what he suggests in terms of what they've done gets us ready.
Then the one sentence right there where your cursor is, the engineering firm Tie and Bond has been contracted. That's old news. I mean, so I would say the engineering firm Tie and Bond was has been working with the town since whatever year we contracted them. And it doesn't hurt to reiterate that we've achieved whatever, the 25%. What do you think? I don't know. So
just the other piece I did want to say briefly is actually, I expect an incredible acceleration in the work now that the pre-25% plans have been submitted. That
Right.
was the thing that held everything up. But the list of things they're going to be trying to do over the next year is incredible, actually.
Right. So, but just instead of saying has been contracted, just say they were contracted and have been working, or they've been working with us for
Or
what?
Time Bomb, what if we just say Time Bomb was contracted and has achieved?
Well, the engineering
25%.
firm is fine because that's what they are. I mean, we've got to remember who's going to read this. People that don't know who they are, right?
Time
So,
Bond has been contracted,
or what? Yeah.
was
Or,
contracted. And when were they contracted?
Is it
In
20?
well, no, to start all this work. No, no, because we didn't have the railway acquisition until, we didn't bring them on until we had.
Wired.
So probably, I don't know, 22. I don't know. Has been working on the
Maybe it has achieved
So
25%.
we got the first Mass Trails grant was in 21. The design one was in 22.
right.
So we acquired it early 22, I guess.
Yeah. So I think
December,
in 20.
January.
Yeah. So they've been working with us on the design activities for, since 2022 or something.
2020.
Yeah.
Since then?
Sure. For now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Following community involvement activities. I feel like this is new. Was this new last year or new this year?
I apologize. We're in what section? I wish they'd gone up above to check
Sorry,
something.
same section 3.7.
Readiness. That was last year's too.
Yeah, I don't think there's a change.
Okay, Forensic Agreement Committee. Okay.
Actually, this one section, my comment, that's in sort of greenish. I think it's down below where you are.
Scroll down.
It's down further.
Right there.
All of those changes are Alex's changes. So
I wonder if how this is gonna implement in the online form though. We'll see.
The hatch marks.
Yeah, they don't usually like bullet points, but we'll see what this looks like.
we've used bullet points, I thought, in the past. Okay.
Yeah, but that's a lot of bullet points, Mark.
Okay. You've done this more than me. So
So the following planning activities have happened. So readiness of this project. So I feel like when reading this, maybe I'm confused. So the question is describe the readiness of this project for the proposed phase. So would the community should the community involvement go in between those two things? January 2025.
That all happened first, yeah. Right.
Where do I plan? Okay.
So I separate community stuff first and then work the consultants done second.
Right.
Okay, and then the entirety of the I see. So this is like ready. This is like work that's done and what's making us ready for the next step. Okay.
There's a section that's sort of in greenish with my comments.
Up or down?
Down just above 3.8.
Yes, I see.
So that is wording again, suggested by Alex.
Yeah. Okay.
Okie dokie.
And this is something we added because the question really talked about maintenance and we hadn't addressed it before. This part that you just got rid of within yellow, plans for ongoing maintenance, the last paragraph.
Yeah.
That's new.
Okay.
Except if there's a spelling error. Okay.
The plan is in place for ongoing maintenance. I understand.
What's the red part here? Hold on.
That was stuff that was added or suggested to be added by Alex.
Okay.
Looks great. Thank you for your work on this, Mark.
Teamwork as always.
Yeah, but you put it all in, which is very helpful when reviewing it. Describe community support.
No real changes here, except a year.
Yeah.
Actually, there's another year that we need to change. Oops.
Oh, I see.
All right.
Make that 25. Yeah.
So I'm in trouble. Okay.
We have begin discussion of trail maintenance and the design process will allow us to address this more fully. Should that go with that other paragraph? No, that's a separate section.
But that sentence kind of hangs out there by
But
itself.
that was
Yeah.
I think that's.
Huh?
Community support. Well, I remember them talking about like how can we solicit additional support for, I remember we were talking about Boy Scouts and things like that. I wonder if we could just state this in 3.7 to just say the progression of the design process will allow for us to address this more fully in the section above.
Well, we addressed it in the section above that one the last paragraph. So we may even need to be able to just drop this completely.
Well, I mean, it is community support. So what is the difference in the question? Community support for this project.
The other is readiness. And they specifically asked readiness for maintenance.
Yeah, readiness was they want to know maintenance in the readiness section if you've even thought about it. So I think you could drop the sentence. I don't think it adds anything in here. There's a paragraph marker or something there. I don't know what that is. There we go.
It's still there.
Why it's
no,
red?
it's because Mark's cursor.
Mark, are you in? Oh, maybe you're.
No,
you
it's
made
just
a
like
note.
where his cursor is. Okay, 2025 match town vote.
Okay. Let's scroll on quick, and then we'll catch up with the other one briefly and figure out what we're doing.
Okay, safety issue.
No, 3.9, no changes. 3.10, no changes. 3.11, no changes.
So I wonder if there's any other more recent information. Like we found this online. I'm just going to see if there's any.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it any more recent data use on the trail? Yeah.
Okay, I'll just leave that. I mean, that was some of these statistics, like some of the information was a little hard to find, but I will just like see if there's anything more recent because obviously the 2020 was 5 years ago at this point.
I know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So we probably ought to say November 15th, 2023.
November.
I'd have put a year in there.
Yes.
There were about, I'm just going to say there were.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Is there a plan for another public meeting anytime soon, Mark?
Well, the state has to hold one with a 25% plan. It's a requirement. And that's hopefully going to be scheduled in May or June for sometime a few months later. So we figured it wasn't worth the town having its own. But if you guys think differently, obviously.
Did we put that in there though? Like, is that mentioned anywhere in the application?
It is in the list of things to do.
Okay, well, we could also say that under engagement. Will this project promote youth involvement? Where's the one about community engagement?
Well, that's actually a state requirement.
It's a requirement, yeah.
The state is going to run that session, not us.
Well, but it's still community support.
That's fine.
And it would address opposition as well. So describe any existing or anticipated opposition to the project and how that is being addressed. So we could say next step, the next community engagement process is the 25% state meeting.
Reasonable wording.
Okay.
Is that the end of that paragraph, Kate? Or are you all the way down?
I'm at 3.8 that says community. So that's youth support. So this is community. I'm in 3.8. Oh,
No,
you can see.
I see that. I didn't know if there's more below that, if you're in the middle of a paragraph. If there's,
During the feasibility
the
study.
spacing is all over the place here. So,
the next anticipated,
community meeting or
engagement, is the 25% state. Do you know what it's called?
25% design hearing.
Well, they'll know what that means, right?
The state will, yeah.
Okay. Youth engagement.
Is there another highlight I saw somewhere? No? Okay.
Not in here.
All right. Then a lot of these keep on, some of these sections don't apply to us. Let's see what this one is on for.
I think we could also engage, like, I think the construction phase, like maybe it's say we'll continue to look for opportunities to engage the local youth in this project, especially during construction and maintenance phases. Like there's not really a lot of opportunity to engage youth in the design, permitting, and engineering.
Well, there won't be in the construction, I don't think either.
Not the construction.
DOT will take that on. That's not a.
Well, what if we just say especially during the maintenance phase of this project? Like we're not. I mean, I think it's.
Yeah, let's not promise anything. I think that's vague enough.
Got it.
Personally, we don't know what finding youth to get engaged. I can barely find a scout troop to come to the 250th anniversary stuff. So
I know.
Anyway, keep on going. Okay.
In 4, there's really no significant changes. The whole section.
Does this ever have to be updated? Like, is there any time limit to the like certification of the work, like the Wetlands Protection Act permitting? Does that have to get updated at all?
Well, that all hasn't even started because NEPA has to be. So that's all going to happen be started in the next 12 months under this. And now that the 25% pre-plan has been submitted.
I get
and
it.
Some of those, once those are issued, those are maybe a 3-year permit sometimes, depending on what the conditions are.
Okay.
All right.
Good. No changes. No changes. Okay.
So, and we have
our
NEHSP. We're still using that old one, right? Have we got any new stuff?
No, they didn't need us to contact them until we get, the NEPA is filed. So it will come back in this next phase.
On the NEH, the first one was actually the E and the H were at the beginning of the paragraph.
Massachusetts.
Oh, right there.
Here?
Yeah.
NHE, thank you.
Oh, NHE, got it. Yeah.
Very good. Yep.
Takes a village.
I think that's been there for 3 years.
Yeah, right. Not known. All right. Until it's complete. I think that sounds like a good one too. Okay.
Permitting. Okay. Trail accessibility guidelines. So we know it's a shared use path, design engineering permitting.
So section 5, we don't have to do anything on.
No, once you hit that question, it kicks me out. It doesn't let you go any further.
Because we're a shared use path and not a hiker pedestrian.
Got it. Okay.
That's what's different about the other Mass Trail grant, which is his own mini nightmare.
Okay, so is that everything?
Section 6, basically we don't have to do anything because there's no equipment.
Right.
And the only section down at the bottom of section 7 is required documents. So this is where we just want to make sure none of this is necessarily going to change, except we want to make sure we add all those pre-25% design documents.
Yeah, we won't have any Buy America stuff, right? So.
Yeah, that we don't have to do.
Okay.
Yeah. But probably under 7.1, no, the spreadsheet has to be project maps, but under 7.3, actually, I'll take that back. 7 for the pre-design documents, I put that in already. So it's just a reminder that we want to add that.
Yeah.
For the bridges, that's good.
Yeah, go ahead. Anybody? Dana, anybody? No? Okay.
Dealing with a cat.
Oh, very good. So basically, this is most of the same kinds of things that we do. I don't know if we'd put in the PowerPoint again this time. I don't think it's relevant. There's usually only like 6 places for me to attach things. And I have to combine several PDFs to get a file into one file. So if we run out of space, I would say the photos and the PowerPoint presentation would be the two that I would highlight and say probably not.
The
Agree.
photos.
Yeah,
You
and
can
the one
also
above it.
diminish the size of the PowerPoint presentation. There's a way to minimize the size on that. When you're getting ready to do that, if you're running over, feel free to touch base with me and I can go over that with you.
Okay.
Chris,
We'll
is it
see
a
how many
limit?
spots they give. Yeah, that's the trouble though.
It's the number.
Yeah. It's like there's only X number of slots where you can attach something.
Gotcha.
But
So
you can always take things and put them together too. I can merge, we can merge PDFs together if we need to.
Well, we do, but they all have to be the same topic in terms of what the attachment tile is, right? So I just highlight those two as just a reminder to me that those are not going to be my high priorities. It's all the 25% design stuff.
Okay, and then the letters of which the other one you said was the PowerPoint.
The PowerPoint. It's old news. It's a year and a half old. So, but letters of support, Mark. Where are you reaching out to, or do I need?
I haven't done anything, to be honest. You've done it in the past, and I don't mind helping with that. I just but we want to make sure we're working on it. We don't have the budget though yet.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And we're due on this on what, February 3rd? Is that right?
February 3rd, correct.
Okay.
Caitlin, go back up to 7.
Mm-hmm.
The first part of that town link is invalid.
Oh.
It doesn't work anymore?
Click on it, I get an error. It doesn't work.
Okay, we'll find it. I mean, I've accidentally downloaded on my phone.
You're right. It's been taken down since the redo.
It's an inactive link.
Okay. Thank you for noticing that. So we'll have to make sure we update that link.
Well, I think we just take it out because I don't think it's in the town site anymore, and it's a big document. So the only way
it's a huge,
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't
and
know.
they've seen it multiple times.
They've got 5 copies of it if they really want it. So let me, whether we do the other grant for Manhan or not, I would reach out to both Senator Vilas and Rep. Pease. In the past, you've had some other folks from trail people. I don't know if that's worth doing, or Friends of the Greenway, or whatever you think, Mark. I mean, if you've got a couple other letters, we can PDF them all.
Friends of the Greenway, and the question, we've done East Hampton and Westfield at different times, different years. So I can see what we can do for that.
Okay, so let's assume we'll just put a note, Kate, that we'll do Vilas, Pease, and Friends organizations for the letters of support. That'll remind me. Friends, whoever else we can think of, but that's, we've usually had 4 or 5 letters of support. Okay.
I don't know if the @ tag is going to work, Chris, because it's a Hotmail. I'll just leave it.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Got it. Yep. Okay. Got the deed in there, drawings, documents. Yeah.
And on 7.8 is the same issue with the non-functional link.
Okay. I wonder what that's all about.
Well,
why don't we see if we could, do you want it in there, or do you think it's important, or no?
I think they've seen it. It's in an old document.
Okay. So we can.
Goes from 2003? Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
Okay.
And
maybe
is it worth asking them? We're talking about old documents and old information, and do they ever really review it? Do the reviewers look at this on face as it stands alone, or do they actually ever look for concurrence with prior applications and prior information. And if they say they don't look back, then I think we need to look at this document as a standalone document without, and you take that into account in how it's written.
How many people? I mean, it's it's certainly possible that it's a different person reviewing it, right? So, I mean,
yeah, it's probably more difference of different people in terms of their review board, people that are looking at the actual applications from year to year. So I would assume that they've got a huge file on Southampton, honestly. If they don't, they damn well should. Because we've been at this for 4 or 5 years now. It would be something we could just check, and I can give a call over to Amanda or this new guy Elijah and just see about that, just to be clear that they have a file on some of our older stuff and they really would want to see new stuff. I mean, to me, we're putting in the most relevant stuff to this year's application, not all the history of the world that this project has gone through, because that's a lot, but worth a double check. So just put a note, Kate, that I'll check with Mass Trails in terms of
and
whatever.
I'll try to read through it, Bruce. That's a good point. I mean, either of us could read through it just to see if there's anything that we feel like is missing about the context of I mean, I feel like it is explained throughout the sections of what has happened. I mean, the acquisition itself was a big step that took a really long time, and also there's not a lot of narrative behind it, right? They just want to know that it's been acquired.
Right. Yeah.
So one of the things that they limit how many things you can attach. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes.
That's the limit. Not there's a 25 megabyte limit, but the real thing is number of things. So right. I did ask Alex to combine as much of the new stuff into one PDF as possible. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to look like yet.
Yeah, that'll be good.
We could potentially do a link to the town website and put some stuff temporarily up on the website if we think it's important and want to have it accessible to them.
Let me check that. It seems to me that we asked this question like a couple of years ago, and again, they don't want things that say "Go see document X." Yeah. They don't want to be told where to go find stuff. You either include it or you don't. Is my gut remembrance there, but I can certainly double check that. That may have changed over time. So yeah, okay. Anything else? That's probably the end.
We could also look at the PowerPoint to see if there's any supporting information in that. I was just thinking about the community support PowerPoint. Like, is there anything in there that would be worth including that isn't?
I don't think so. I'm thinking we basically talked about work to date and work that will be coming up. So
I don't. Yeah, I would agree, because I don't think we're at a point where we're needing to convince them that they want to do this project. They're on board with us. They have been supporting us. The state is pushing for this. I think we don't have to convince them why we think it's necessary. It's just that we got to prove that we're doing all the right work and all the right steps to advance, I guess, and use the money wisely with a timeline that makes sense. So
I imagine that they're pretty familiar with the delays in the timeline, right? Like, that's not.
Well, okay.
Some of the
Anything
people,
else, Mark?
some of the people who are reviewing it are on the team that delayed it.
Right, exactly.
And they're one of the things we're going to the state is this Mass DOT has been given a sort of timeline with about 450 different items that to be completed over the next year and a half. So that will be sort of the detail that will go with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever Alex can PDF in terms of that 25% design report, that will be key, because that'll be probably an attachment all by its lonesome, I would think.
Yes.
Or maybe two, depending. But yeah. Okay. So again, we'll try to pick out the most relevant stuff that we think is, essential to making the case. But it doesn't hurt to check with them in terms of how much they keep from the past files on hand, and if they go back and take a look at it. So good points. Yeah. Okay. So Mark, we might let you escape if you're ready. We'll keep working on this a little bit.
Do you want me to stay around to?
Oh, you can certainly
see if I can help with the other one.
Well, and I don't know. I know if people have to leave. Understood. We're a little bit longer than I thought here. I'm going to try and pull up what I have. Oh God, where did that go now? Hold on. Oh, tell me no. Oh boy. Why does it want to share what I had there? Okay, good. Okay. Hold on. Oh boy, just a second. All right, I'm going to pull you up again here. Where the heck? Shoot. Get out of here. Don't want you. I'm not going to do these meetings. I'm going to do these. Oh, me and Google. I love me. Come on, hold on. Give me a break. Hold on. Ah, boy. Ooh. All right, I'm going to stop recording for 2 seconds so we can pull up something else here if I can do that. It's all just hiding in behind here. Okay, now let me try and see if I can find it. Is anybody seeing this yet? Not yet?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it.
All right. Oh, cheers. What do you know? Okay. Now, of course, I've somehow lost the ability to record. Why?
No, you're still recording on my computer. I don't think you inactivated it.
No, I see that it's recording too.
Well, it's not recording on mine, I don't think, but okay, we'll try that. Perfect. Okay, let me scroll up a minute. And so let me just fill in people a little bit. Diana, you're the most knowledgeable one about this entire project.
Yeah, well, ancient memory at this point.
Yeah, well, we'll take any kind of memory at this point. So this was one actually that Concom had taken the lead on way back when, back in 19 and 20, to start the first phase of the Manhan Meadows Sanctuary trail restoration. There we go. And had received a grant back in 2020-ish, I believe it was, 2021 sometime, to do some rework of the trail, put in some kiosks, some benches, forgetting some of the other things, some bog bridges. All that happened. And then a phase 2 was applied for, which was to replace what had been a very dangerous suspension bridge over the river at the Manhan Meadows Sanctuary down on East Street, replace it with a fiberglass carry-in, do-it-yourself assembly kind of bridge. And that was the grant that was awarded in 22. That grant got delayed forever because of having to have a waterways permit from the state because we were putting the bridge over a river. That took an entire year to get. And as such, time was running out. We did get a 1-year time extension, but then that time extension ran out in December, and they would not grant yet another year extension because the money from where they get their funding was only good for 3 years. So the money ran out. We only used a very small portion, I think less than $10,000, Scott, probably, of the $50,000 grant. And it's a reimbursable, so we never got it. So the fact is we used some of it, but the rest of it, we never got in the first place. You only get it as you expend on it. And we used a little bit of the matching CPC money, and that was about it. So this is kind of where we are thinking about, shall we go ahead and put in now? So we're in a better place in that we've got all of the permits now for the waterways. We have a design study stamped design of the bridge, all of those things that we didn't have last time that makes us stronger. However, I just attended a webinar this morning that was DOT and Mass Trails together talking about all their grant funding. The maximum funding for recreational trails, which is what this one falls under. This is mass trails, but mass trails usually does shared use paths, which is what Mark has been talking to us about. Recreational trail is another subcategory of mass trails, and their maximum is $100,000. So that would help us buy the bridge, but it's not going to help us install it. So the bridge is about $88,000. The installation cost, because of the flood possibilities over the years and looking at climate resiliency issues and the length of the bridge itself, the length of the bridge is 75 feet long. The river itself that it goes over is, I believe, 40 feet-ish wide. And then you need enough space on either bank to anchor it in. So long story short, we had some engineering work done, and their estimate to really put in the correct abutments, in spite of the fact this is a very simple fiberglass bridge, is nearly $250,000 just to anchor it into the river bed bank. So that's kind of where we are, guys. So we're talking about a $300,000 project, of which right now, obviously, only $100,000 can be used toward this recreational trails thing. So I guess I've gone through and I've copied in a lot of the work that Diana had done on the very first and second grants. I've copied in stuff that is relevant, and I've added a few things in red or yellow that are question marks in my own mind. So I don't know what we think about this. I think it's worthwhile probably just having a discussion about pros and cons first, and then seeing whether on Mass Trail's website, apparently there is a link to various other rail trail or hiking trail, pedestrian trail sources of funding. And I haven't had a chance to look at that again today to see what else is out there. But it doesn't sound like we can ask for more than 100,000 on this one. So that will reflect how we write this, obviously. So I don't know. Any first thoughts, Diana? I'll give you the wording here because you this is your baby early on here.
So when we applied, it was 50,000 was the limit, and now if that has been increased to 100,000.
Well, they told me today that the recreational trails grants are 100,000 maximum. I don't know what it was before. Yeah.
I do think up top where you have the name, you should put pedestrian bridge installation if we proceed with this. Somewhere I saw that. It said pedestrian installation. I think we're missing the word bridge. Right there. Project
Well, there you go.
We're going to install a
pretty
few
good
pedestrians.
Pretty good thing there. Maybe we have to take out meadows because I can only put in 5 words. Okay, maybe I'll take out project. How's that?
Yeah, take project out.
There we go. Okay. Good catch there, Diana. See?
Was this a bridge that was deteriorated because of weather, or is it just old?
It was both, yeah. Really. It was 30 years old. It was installed by Boy Scouts to begin with, a suspension bridge, which you have to go down there and tighten the winches or something. Nobody did that. And over time, it was really listing at quite a degree. And then a bunch of trees fell on it. So, and so one of the things they would, that the wetland scientists and the bridge people said was move it it's not that far, maybe 20 feet or so that it's not at the same curve in the river that somehow the currents affected its stability. I don't understand that either. Yeah. I guess part of the whole thing is I don't understand why the installation is so expensive, because we were told by the bridge people themselves that it probably shouldn't be that much, but they don't do those kinds of engineering plans. And I know that the former Concom members didn't expect it to be that much, but then suddenly it just was. So I don't know. And then there's a question Chris and I were discussing. Is it worth it to spend that much money? How many people go down there and use it? No, I don't know.
But I think the argument can be made because this, again, the purpose of having the bridge is to link both sides of the Manhattan Meadows as you come in from the street and Brickyard Road extension. So it's a 50-acre parcel.
Yeah.
That, it would be nice. And you've redesigned the trail, right? The trail has been redesigned.
Yeah.
Rerouted on the east side, yeah.
But assuming a bridge would be put in, correct?
Correct.
I mean,
Always
right now,
assuming that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now you can still only access each side from that side, right? You can't do a full loop.
Correct. Well, you could wade across the river.
Well,
but you
okay,
would get
you
wet.
could wade across in low water, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that. So you've got a more usable conservation area if it were linked, and it does abut the greenway now. And we've made a specific entry point from the rail trail to Manhan Meadows with the relocation, or what did you just say? What was the word you used? Sorry, whatever of the trail.
Rerouting.
With the rerouting of the trail, they've made the entrance different up from the rail trail.
It used to be quite steep, and that hillside was eroding. Right. And
so again, all in all, looking to the future. I mean, it sounds horrific right now. Looking to the future, though, we're certainly expecting wide use of the rail trail. That would, I would certainly
bring
think
people
that
in there.
people, would be, wanting to hop off their bikes and go take a walk around. And I mean, I see the future use. It's not an immediate obvious thing, but.
And I guess it's possible when it went out to bid that it might not.
Yeah,
cost that much.
Right. This is an estimate. So right, this is an estimate. So anyway, let me just scroll down to a couple things. So, if this were this amount of money, for example, and this is not counting, Scott, you were saying another 10% maybe contingency? Maybe? That's even worse. Oh, God. Without that 10%, I was already coming up to where would come on here? About a $57,000 match needed from CPC if it was the that 88,000 plus 250. So again, the 250 is just an estimate from an engineering firm. When it goes out to bid, you get actual bids in, and it's obviously that may change. But yeah, that's what they're saying. So, and it's duly, from what we understand, because of the floodplain and chances of flooding over the coming years with climate changes, the length of the bridge itself, et cetera, et cetera. So the primary activity of the project, in my mind, is construction. Is it? That puts us in another category. It's not design and engineering anymore. Is it equipment?
I think it's always been construction. I think that's what we look like. Yeah.
But that, just to say that on the tail end of that other application, there's certain categories that don't apply to us because it has nothing to do with equipment or digging. This one does. So this will end us in another
equipment, we're buying a bridge, but yeah.
Yeah, but you got to dig to install it. So that puts us in a whole nother set of questions later on, but we'll worry about it later. So design use hiker pedestrian trail. It's not anything else but that, right?
Well, some people do ride bicycles down there. They ride them everywhere.
That was going to be that's my next choice then, a 210. So I checked walkers, runners, hikers, and cross-country skiers. I don't know that we're going to want bikers down on this trail.
Well, we wouldn't forbid them, would we? I mean, mountain bikes, not motorized, but
right.
You can't stop the motorized if you let bikes in there by state law.
Oh.
Well, we have that at Clearwater. Clearwater always says no, all the conservation areas say no motorized vehicles, but they allow bicycles are not forbidden.
Yeah, I think that's a whole loophole in terms of e-bikes that have gained more prominence.
And
I mean, I don't know about bicyclists and mountain bikers. Was that in there before? I don't know that it was offhand.
If it wasn't, then just forget it. I wouldn't ride a bike down there, but
I wouldn't either. I mean, I haven't. This is part of what I didn't find, I think, in that one, but I'll look again for it in your former notes.
Yeah.
I added cross-country skiers because that seems like that could be doable. But other than that, I didn't do
they're intrepid.
Yeah, well, who knows?
If you added cycling, would that change the design of the requirements for the bridge, or the bridge would be, it would serve that purpose?
No, I don't think it would change anything with the bridge because it's got a
Okay.
certain load and everything there. It's
Okay.
more, yeah, I don't know. I'll just highlight it so we
I
can
mean,
think
I
about
guess since the Greenway is abutting, might be an issue. Would people, feel okay just wheeling down there on their bikes? I don't know.
it. Yeah. Okay. Well, God knows. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. I'm suggesting. What am I doing? I can't see my suggestions here.
This is going back a little bit, but just so people are aware, in terms of money spent from prior CPC funds for these projects, all of it from the first Manhattan Meadows Trail was used up, and there was 43,526 still left in the account according to the records we have from the phase 2.
For phase
Okay.
2, 43,000. Okay.
And
Very good.
So
Thank you.
so we used about 13,000 then.
Oh, well, no, it looks like it was a 50,000, we used 7,000 ish.
It was a $50,000 match.
Yeah,
But
match.
no, we had another 7,000.
Oh,
But that
that
might-
7,000 wasn't touched. The 7,000 was additional when there's a third vote from CPC.
Okay, all right.
So there's 43 plus 7 remaining, Mark?
If we can use that 43, because that was a match for the grant. So I don't know
Right.
the language there.
Okay.
Actually, I do have the language here if you want to hear it.
No, that's okay. We'll
Okay.
look at it, but this we'll get it afterwards. But then the 7,000 was also for this grant too, phase 2?
It was for additional bridge costs. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So it wasn't in kind. It was CPC money.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So this is why the project should be funded. This is just new stuff I threw in here in red. I don't know what anybody thinks about it. I just don't want to, we won't spend an hour going through this. I just wanted to quickly run
would
it.
you just want to make that a sentence? This is a unique asset for a town center or something like that? There's no
Sure.
verb there. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Good idea. Yeah. Okay. I'll go back and figure out my changes later here. That's fine. Oh, God. Go away.
There, that works.
Okay. I can't see all my comments that I'm putting in the side, so I'll just do them later. I'll go back down. Oh, come on now. Okay. I've got it too big. That's why. Hold on 2 seconds. Give me a break. Thank you. Shut up. Okay. I don't know why this is coming out so big here, but anyway. Okay. So a lot of this was language from before, the site location, and then I think I just added at the bottom, western border of the preserve is an unused rail line and earlier RT, so that's recreational trails grant, located an access point to the town's future greenway, a multi-use trail that will link with neighboring towns. So sounded halfway reasonable.
Do you prefer to call it multi-use or shared use trail?
Okay. Is it? Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know if that makes a difference, but
Probably shared use. Yeah. That's what we've been calling it. That's true.
okay.
Good point. Okay. So town owns the land, Concom is charged with maintaining it, so that goes into the landholder issue.
This is confusing. It sounds like we're refusing to comply, but I think it doesn't apply to us, the accessibility here. Was this the same question as before?
This is number 15, 215?
Yeah. Because it says there that they must comply, but I always thought we were exempt from that because there's just no way that we were going to make this an accessible trail.
Yeah. Good question.
Do you want me to look on the website? I can look on the website to see if it's a requirement.
Sure. I'll just make a note for myself.
None of our trails are
None of
accessible.
the trails in town are technically classified as accessible trails, I don't think.
But you probably haven't gotten Mass Trails funding
Yeah, we have twice.
No, for maybe since the more recent requirements to work on the trails themselves or to make them more accessible, maybe you were. Accessible trails.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at all of our trails around town, they would not be classified as accessible trails like a couple are in East Hampton and Northampton and other places where you can get wheelchairs and so forth on them. There's no way.
Yeah. Wasn't Clearwater also funded by Mass Trails? Or no, that was
No.
land.
They were land,
Yeah.
that was a land grant, land, whatever.
Okay.
So, no. Okay, so I don't think it had no PNF, no regional, it's not on a tip list, it has nothing to do with that.
Mhm.
So what kind of trail your project proposes to design? So again, it's more just putting in part of the word that was there before, joining two halves of the trail with this fiberglass bridge. What I wasn't sure, I'd have to go back and look at the, I don't know where the pressure treated wood surface came in. Is that part of that? Does that sound familiar, Diana?
We have to be careful about that because if we do use pressure treated wood, it has to be a certain kind. So you might say, and an approved pressure treated wood surface.
Yeah.
It can't have arsenic in it.
Right. I'll have to double check though the specs of the fiberglass bridge itself. I didn't remember any wood being in it, but we'll check it.
Yeah, I don't think there was any wood in the bridge or the abutments.
Okay, a secure anchoring and an approved non-slip surface. How's that?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think that's more important.
Yeah.
Because I would agree with that. Yeah. Okay, I'll come back to that craziness. I'll clean it up because
do we need to put in all the stuff about phase one here if we're trying to be.
I don't know. That's part of the challenge of trying to talk about what we did and what we're not going to do anymore, and trying to couch it somehow. They've got to understand it. So this is not project phase two. So of this project, so it's not a phase two. We're not trying to link it to that at all, right, Scott? So we don't want to. This is a brand new project. It's before Concom applied, the last two. Now the town is applying. So Concom.
This is no longer phase two. We're not calling it that.
No, we named it differently.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I guess we're still on phase one technically. We're rolling everything in one phase.
So I also found to enter your accessible design standards, it says under the ADA, law passed in 1990, newly constructed and constructed or altered state and local government facilities, public accommodation, and commercial facilities must be readily accessible and usable by persons with disabilities. It says I'm skipping two sentences. The ADA standards apply nationwide, but it does not include design standards for shared use pathways / trails, but they do include standards for other elements like parking lots and site amenities. So that's probably why it wasn't a problem.
So it should say NA on that, not just no. It should say NA.
Well, the choice is yes or no when you get online. So
yeah, okay. Well, hopefully they work at Mass Trails. They should know.
So like if you were to put a bathroom there, the bathroom would need to be accessible, not necessarily. Correct. And it says shared use pass is defined as an off-road infrastructure is physically separated from motorized vehicle traffic and is designed for use by bicycles and pedestrians. They're typically paved but can use stabilized aggregate, crushed stone, or unimproved natural surfaces. So I think that they don't have specific grading.
I think this is a hiking trail rather than a shared use trail.
Yeah. It's different. Yeah. So I think we'll leave it that we are not ADA accessible on the trail.
Oh yeah, you're right. So there's a whole separate category for hiker and pedestrian trails. So it's only one-way use, and I just think maybe it falls outside. Must be constructed or accessible according to ADA and MAAB standards. But maybe it does. Trails that have design use for other than hikers and pedestrians, such as mountain bike or equestrian trails, are not required to comply with the technical accessibility guidelines for trails.
Okay. So, wouldn't you mind just shooting that as an email to all of us, and then we'll
of course. But I'm thinking maybe it's actually better for it to be mountain bike or trails if it is a.
Keep that in mind.
But that's specifically a Mass Trails accessibility guide. So
perfect. Okay, good. So at this point, any reference to photos and maps and all this other stuff, I'm taking out because I don't think that's going to be helpful at this present time. But then this whole two ends of the, transporting the component sections to the bridge side is still probably true, but then the whole ends of the bridge, how it's going to be mounted, I think I'd take all this stuff out, Scott. What do you think?
I don't know if that's the way it is anymore.
I mean, the diamond piers are still part of it. I mean, I have no idea.
I do not know.
Yeah.
That's what we got from the bridge company.
I know. So now, and that's where I was hoping there would be a narrative from this other guy that explained all his drawings, but I don't know that it did anything. So the notice of intent already happened, so that may not be relevant. So this is all stuff more just, I think will end up going away, but
I think you should still say the notice of intent is still valid. It hasn't expired, and neither has the NHESP stuff.
Okay.
Still valid or not expired?
Okay.
I hope. I mean, I know the NOI is. I don't know for sure about the NHSP, but I think it is.
Okay.
Is this a liability? Like this property, does it pose like an actual liability to the town since it's so damaged? Like how does that work?
Well, the suspension bridge did. That's why we took it down, number one, and had all sorts of signs saying pass at your own risk. But all of our hiking trails are, sort of, use your common sense and pass at your own risk on many of them. Trip over a tree root or something. But so I guess technically, I suppose all of these have a level of liability, do they not, Scott? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, with the bridge being a known defect, I don't think we would be able to get around that. But if someone trips over a tree stump,
Yeah. So
the bridge is no longer there.
No, it's gone.
Suspension bridge has been taken down a long time ago. Yeah. So we killed it because it was really, kids were still going down there, even though we posted all sorts of signs saying do not go down here.
Well, that's why they went down there, because you posted a sign not to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, people use it as a shortcut between East Street and Strong Road.
They were, yeah. So, okay. So how it fills in a critical gap. So this is where I started in a little bit here. Project continues the restoration of the sanctuary begun with a Mass Trails grant, first phase awarded in 2020. So connecting these two sides with a bridge will create a sizable nature preserve, blah, blah, blah. So this thing I thought I would take, this is from the earlier application like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Check it out. I don't think this is relevant. This was the new bridge on East Street, and I didn't find this was particularly useful. So I think I would end up taking this out myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Just cross through it for right now. Environmental justice. So we used a couple things here. Yeah, so here, just leading to either side of this bridge, the already restored trail has alleviated slippery, steep conditions that will improve the safety of elderly and the young who use it, whether they are from Southampton or out of town.
Well, that's the stuff that we did to improve it, and
I know. So that's why I'm saying I'm trying to write. I'm trying to pretend, we've already done some stuff here, right? So.
Yeah.
But I can't put in the stuff that was from last year's or 2 years ago grant. So I'm trying to put in a few sentences. So what was this one? This was, is it located near an EG community? And you want to talk about safety and health, minorities, elderly, children, etc. So that's why I threw that in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, open space. So again, just talking about our values in the open space plan completed 4 years ago, but that's where we had our community outreach. Nothing more to say about that. Project with disabilities. So here's where is a question, I guess. Here's a question, Diana. Is there work to be done on the Brickyard roadside, or was that already done? The trail?
Wait a second, I just had to let the cat in. Now, what was the question?
3.6, sorry.
Okay, 3.6.
In my red part.
It needs to be, they need to put gravel there and all, but so would we be asking for money to work on that side, or are we just going to focus on the bridge?
We weren't planning to, so that's why I didn't know if this was an old sentence that was here.
So if we're not going to ask for that money, then I think we should take it out.
Okay. Then I don't know if any of the rest
of
this.
How does this specifically address or improve accessibility?
For people with disability.
Yeah. It just improves access to both sides of the sanctuary. And
I think
that was written when we were thinking that this grant would cover not just the new bridge, but also kind of rehabbing of that side of the sanctuary. But now we're just focused on trying to get the bridge done.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think we can do much here. Our readiness here. So this is all new. And I really do want to let you guys go. So this is basically everything that I've tried to put in. I pulled in from various engineering things that I could find and other documents. So I'm talking that, this was the subject of a grant in 2021, counted delays because of the water license. Engineering firm confirmed the site conditions. They took soil samples and blah, 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 blah. This is all out of Collingswood's, the engineering firm's terms of reference. So they took soil samples. They were to determine the stable and safe connection of the bridge to the riverbank. And they took into effect climate issues, etc. So as a result, we will have a stamped and signed engineering design report. And that's one of the main things we need to include in here, summarizing their calculations and recommendations to the site and support of the bridge, for the site and support of the bridge. The challenge here too, though, somewhere in some of the documentation, we said the bridge work needs to be done in the summer when the water is at its low site. So again, we get, if this is a 1-year grant, we're going to be up a creek literally again, because these awards come out in July. If we can buy the bridge, we can do other stuff, but we can't install anything until next summer. If this is a 1-year grant, this grant risks expiring already before we can install it, if we have to install it when the water is low in the summertime. So pray tell, this could be maybe a 2-year grant, which I think they have some discretion to figure out, given the complexity of the project that you propose. It's either a 1-year or 2-year grant, I think. But that's questioning here. So I mentioned here that, we, all this work wasn't concluded in time to meet the seasonality requirement, and additional time was not permitted. So here we are again, basically. So here's why we're here again. This is kind of talking about our readiness now a little bit.
Did you read about the wood turtles somewhere?
I didn't put them in there specifically. I didn't know if we were allowed to mention the wood turtles as our sacred beings down there.
Yeah, well, that has ramifications for when you can work on it. I'm not sure that the summer is I don't know if they just don't want you working when they're active, and I'm not sure when that is.
Right. I saw that somewhere, and I believe that was going to be a question I had. So I'm going to make a turtle sign here too. Because I believe turtle, what's that called? Brumation? I think is November. So I think it's November to February. And so
when you cannot work there.
When you can work there, because the turtles are all sound asleep.
Well, see, that doesn't coincide with.
So I know that's the challenge I was having last night at midnight when I was writing this and driving myself crazy. Yeah. All right, we won't belabor it. It's just the timing is wacko.
Timing is of the essence here.
Is off. Anyway, so hard to know. Somewhere I saw the turtle turtle timing where you cannot work down there. We have an endangered species down there, the wood turtle. You can only be down there at certain times of the year to do any earth removal or work. Community support. So yeah, we did some stuff on this from previous time. Volunteer work crews, which is true, have been working down there. We've had various support letters in the past. We haven't gotten a new one from Council on Aging, so I should probably have to get a new letter if we wanted one. Blah, 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 blah. Vote by CPC is to provide the match as anticipated. So again, trying to talk both in the past and the future. Does it address?
They just ask the same questions in a different way.
I know. It's very frustrating. So this is, so it's critical that it be replaced with securely anchored, properly sited bridge with railings. So this will be the missing link that unifies both sides of the river.
Oh my God. I wrote that.
Well, between us.
Yeah.
Unique, high quality. This is what they really do want to see. And I think this seemed to be pretty good. Bond between nature, study shows allowing people to access lands in need of conservation heightens the interest in protecting these areas. Quality bridge will help people get full use of the sanctuary. Bridge project in improving an outdoor space and adjacent to the future greenway will foster support for protecting woodlands. Okay, who knows? Youth involvement. So no, we're not going to have any more scouts put in any more bridges. But other than that, I didn't know what to say here, so I have nothing to write in here.
Youth involvement, youth crews, scouting groups.
Yeah, so nothing.
Well, I feel like you could reach out to UMass to see if they could help with rehab, like because they have engineering students. I don't know. I just wonder if there's there's other ways to.
Yeah.
I'm looking up grant projects. Well, in the background, I'm trying to find other grants that could be used for.
Well, the one that Chris cited on the Mass Trails, they mentioned several, like Field Ponds Foundation is a good one, and
so somewhere on the Mass Trails website page, Kate, there's something I think.
Okay.
But I didn't look at it yet. So just quickly, cultural and any project receiving state.
We did have the Smith Volk students, so those are young people, build the benches in there, but that's phase one.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know.
I can throw that just so I remind myself. That's true. Smith Volk. Oh, come on. Oh, God, Chris.
So if this is classified as a recreational trail,
yes,
and not a shared use path, I'm just reading most of the grant awards is $100,000.
Yes, it's a recreational trail. It's not a shared use. Yeah.
So the only reason I'm bringing that up is because it looked like we were requesting much more than that. So I
know that's the problem. That's why I began the conversation is like, do we even do this? I mean, all we can ask for is the bridge. We can't even get money to install it with this thing because the bridge alone is $88,000.
So could we, I understand. So could we ask them if they have any ideas? Like Mass Trails, be like, okay, well, we can, like,
they'll just tell us
your project?
They'll just tell us to look at their website and look for other sources. That was we can talk to them, but I doubt it. I mean, they're probably, if they even want to entertain this, I'm not sure. But near historic or archaeological, I think we said no on this one, Diana. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they check that NHESP. They have to check it out, and they do it with maps and
Yeah. So if it was yes, so it didn't say that one. Okay. Now, will it involve even minimal digging or excavation? So I had to say yes here. I think right because when you install the bridge, it depends. If we go for the installation of the bridge,
you have to dig the footings in at least.
Yeah. Installation. Yeah. Dig in footings. Yeah. So anyway, So please describe the locations and extent of digging and excavation. And this is where this all comes in craziness. So this is all, somewhere to be determined. TBD per site plan that we have from, what's it called? ARC? Is that the name? I think that's their name. And then wetland permitting, so yes, but then we've already done that. So communications have taken place during the first phase. Recommendations were made. Compliance with wetlands protection, wetland science just did a NOI. We have an order of conditions was issued by Concom in June of 2023 too. This is actually only good for 3 years, so it expires this June.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Now here's where we have our endangered species. So yes, NHESP.
Does that have a date?
I'd have to look at. I got to go back and find the last letter on that one. I don't remember having a permit. I remember seeing a letter, but I have to go back and look at those files. Communications have been there. Oh, May 22. I'm sorry. No, wait a minute. Oh, 19, they issued a letter, but then in May 22, they had reviewed the plans in compliance with the rare, I wrote this, yeah, with the rare wildlife species section. They determined the project would not adversely affect the habitat, but I didn't mention the turtles. They reviewed the project in light of the Mass Endangered Species Act and of a rare species, so I could put in turtles here.
So they didn't, on that letter, they didn't say when we could work there, or?
I'll have to go back and look at it. I don't recall.
I'll try to find it too, but.
Okay. MIPA review, I have no idea. Not a clue.
Where are you? Oh.
49. I don't know what other MIPA review is needed. Other permits, probably not. So I'm not really. So then I just wanted to just get an opinion. Rail accessibility here, because the guidelines checklist. So we are now, I don't know how this is going to do it when it's online, because, hang on, come back here. God darn it. Okay, so we're going to be hiker pedestrian. Oh, why can't you do something here? I need to do something intelligent. Oh, I want you. Why won't you bold me? Where's the bold on this thing? Anybody know? I don't know.
I don't see it. I'm not familiar.
Control B. Just hit Control B.
Control B. Huh.
As long as the text is highlighted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Project activity then is going to be construction. Yeah. Oops, what happened? Come back. This cursor is just being nasty today. Control B. Okay. So I don't know if this is going to jump me into a whole new set of questions when I get online. I hope not. Is proceed to the next section if this is hiker pedestrian and the activities include construction. So here's my nightmare.
I think this is different. Yeah, this is different from before.
Do not proceed if the form is a shared use path. So it's not there. So that's going to kick me into something else here. And I hope to God's name it isn't going to be all this stuff about we're not doing an altered trail. This is all the footpath and I just hope this isn't what it is, and I'm not going to know it until I get in there.
I don't remember any of this from before.
Because you get to a certain part and it says, okay, you're done, or it kicks you off to a whole new set of questions. So I guess this is a question I need to ask. Here's ask Eli, or whatever his name is. Elijah.
This section was new 2 years ago.
But it says there, do not proceed to the next section if, and the second one is the project's designed use is hiker pedestrian and project activities include. Oh.
Yeah, but we're not. We're doing construction. So I gotta ask these guys. So that's kind of where we are, guys. So I'm gonna stop sharing. That's all there is right now. That's more than enough. Nightmare. So you can see the headache here. what do you think the best thing is to do? Try and talk first with Elijah and or Amanda and just say, hey guys, here we are. Do you want to see us again or not?
I think it's worth asking for additional funding sources. I don't know what other places to go knock on a door.
Yeah. Well, and we need to just look at whatever's on their Mass Trails website because they have a whole matrix apparently of other trail related funding.
Is Mass Trails the only source? Can we go outside Mass Trails?
But on they're not. But masstrails.gov on their website, they list other programs.
Oh, it's like there's a whole website. Yeah, this is cool.
Fund trail work.
I mean, they might know. They might be able to direct us specifically for help for a bridge for grants.
Exactly.
For bridges.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So I think what you've got there, Kate. Yeah. So on the masstrails.gov website under resources somewhere, I would assume. Yeah, that's where they must have a list of other grant programs that might apply to us. So
I'm looking at it right now, and I've already looked at a lot of these programs. They really don't.
Yeah.
Like yeah. I can look more, but it seems like a lot of these there's land and recreation grants through energy and environmental affairs. Like I just don't see any of these really applying. I'll look at the smaller ones. The REI.
Well, what we need though is the money to actually install the bridge. We need construction money, or no, even if we went for somebody else to buy the bridge and we tried to use this grant for installation, we'd only have half the money. So that won't help us either. Mark?
My reading of the being able to use the prior CPC funding under phase 2 is probably can't use it because it's specific part of a 50% match for the Mass Trails grant. Didn't have a year on the Mass Trails grant. So it could be applied to a future one, but you can't use it unless you're using it as a match.
Yeah.
I believe.
Figures. And I think, we keep calling this one a Mass Trails grant, but it is under them, but it's one of their subcategories. So they call it, recreational trail grant. So I think in our award form, it was even an RT grant somewhere there. So I don't know, guys. I'll be glad to, make a few phone calls tomorrow and emails and check in with Mass Trails and just get some heads up. And I know, Scott, you've talked to this Elijah guy. I was, like I say, he and Amanda were just on this webinar I was on this morning. But maybe you and I, even Diana, if you wanted to join us, we could just have a phone call with them and just say, guys, are we spinning our wheels here? And what do we do? How do we make this sanctuary, a worthwhile 50-acre parcel?
How do other towns do it? Where do they get the money?
They don't have a river running through their property.
Yeah, that's right. A
they
river
have a
runs
trickling
through
stream,
it.
maybe, but they don't have a river. I mean, I don't know. That's our problem. So anyway, I've taken so much of your time, guys. Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
I just said I can't imagine this is like a unique situation though. Like, yeah, we have a river, but I can't imagine we're the only area that has a river going through it. Especially given everything they're talking about with climate change. I can't imagine that there's not some other bridges that have deteriorated, right? Like, so maybe they do have a good idea.
I don't know. We can certainly
There's a
ask.
big one. Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned the one at Fitzgerald Lake in Northampton is a lot like ours, but you're right, that isn't a river there. But what about at Bray Lake? There's a big bridge like this at Bray Lake in Mount Tom, and that's a big body of water.
But you've got still water versus moving water. Probably. I mean, I know nothing. That's my guess. That's my guess. Okay. So anyway. So listen, guys, I think, thank you for all this thought. This one is a dilemma. We certainly are moving forward with the Greenway one. This one, I'm willing to keep on working on it, but I think we need some further clarity. So I didn't want to move any more until we had a meeting and just brought this out and shared it with everybody. But in the meantime, if you want to go through and mark up things that don't make any sense and put your comments in, please go ahead and do that in the Google Doc so that if we pull back to this, we can see where things don't make any sense. And again, we're not calling this phase 2. We're trying to reflect what has been done in preparation to get us this far. But this is its own project. It's not. Yeah.
Would it make sense at all to think about doing it over 2 years, this year for the bridge and then next year for the installation for a grant from
Well,
Mass Trails.
Even with the $100,000 limit, I think that's one of the problems is the bulk of it will be, at that point, a quarter to $300,000.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the installation part is only going to get worse in another year. The cost of construction and.
Can that be bidded out to 3 people just to get the information to say, listen, we tried to find comparative costs? Like, is that like with trying to get information from multiple different companies?
Well, we haven't bid it yet. We've gone out to an engineering firm to give us their what do we call it? Their opinion,
Specs.
I guess.
Their specs.
Their specs of how this would be installed. So based on what they've given us, that will help us then put it out on the street for bid. To say, look, we want to install this kind of bridge and it looks like this, and we want to attach it to the riverbanks like this. Tell us how much it's going to cost. So this is the phase right before that, actually. So if we get this grant, that would be one of the activities we have to do is to do the RFP and put it out for bid.
Maybe it would be worthwhile, like Caitlin says, ask Mass Trails, do you know anybody else who's, installed a bridge like this? And
okay.
You think?
Yeah, we can certainly try.
Because then maybe we could reach out to them and say, how did you fund, or maybe we could look for an article to say, how did you fund it? Where did you get the money?
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, guys, I've taken twice as long as I thought. So sorry. Thank you for being patient and understanding the levels of frustration and the complication with these grants. They are not all that simple. And believe me, as much as we can do offline and get ready for it, the better it is, because as I cut and paste when I get online, all of a sudden there'll be another question in there somewhere that wasn't part of their template, and they'll direct you in another sideways path. So it's very tricky when you actually get in online sometimes, but hopefully they will behave themselves. But I'm just scared of this last section where you have to talk about more on the this trail and construction and where that's going to take us with several more questions. I just don't know that we can't see. They're not visible to us. But I'll see if I can learn some more about it. So good. All right. Well, let me take a motion to adjourn, and we'll figure out when we probably need to come back again. Mark, what do you think in terms of you want to call us back together in another week or two, or what do you think?
I will speak to Time Bond tomorrow to find out when they'll get us the budget. I think that's the big piece. So as soon as I get that, I'll email you. Is that okay?
Okay, and we'll kind of stand by for another meeting either on a Monday or a Friday. Usually Mondays are good for us, but we'll try that.
Okay.
Okay. Good. I'll take a motion to adjourn, I think.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.